Hi everyone, my name is Stas. Today I'm going to tell you about the plot of the 2020 movie called S.O.S, Survive or Sacrifice, which features an unusual story about beautiful girls stuck on a large hot air balloon. Kate, the girl, along with her younger sister Liz, decides to go on a little trip for the first time. When the sisters leave the airport, they accidentally forget their passports, which leads to problems checking into a local hotel. The receptionist, feeling sorry for the girls, decides to step in and let them into their room. Liz, tired from the long flight, almost immediately falls asleep on the big soft bed. As for Kate, still having some energy left, she decides to check out the nearest club to unwind and grab a bite to eat. After a while, she meets a charismatic and sweet-looking girl named Myra. Kate, unaware that Myra and her boyfriend Jack are serious con artists, becomes their next victim. As soon as the con artist gets Kate onto the dance floor, she quickly manages to stealthily swipe the keycard to Kate's room, and also discreetly hand it over to Jack. Distracting her new friend, Myra gives her accomplice time to ransack the room of the distracted vacationer. After a while, the girls meet two equally sociable guys who invite them to go for a ride in a big hot air balloon. The girls readily accept the invitation and then they all head to the launch site, which is located outside the city. On the way, Kate sends a message to her sister about the situation, and then she shares her thoughtful action with her new friends.
I just pinged my location. My sister now knows where I am.
Look, it's right over there.
Once they reach the final destination, Nick and Andy start preparing the hot air balloon for an unforgettable flight. As soon as all the necessary preparations were done, the cheerful quartet of young people settled into the basket. They decided to celebrate the start of the flight with some champagne. Just a couple of minutes later, the vacationers realized that they're starting to take off, which they definitely hadn't planned. As it turned out, Nick was supposed to tie the hot air balloon to the car, which would allow them to safely ascend to a certain height.
Lots of females. No biggie, right? What are you, stupid?
Things get even worse when the guys and girls see what obstacles are ahead of them. The unfavorable wind carries them in the hot air balloon right towards the blades of the huge wind turbines. At the same time, Liz wakes up where she fell asleep. Jack, posing as a hotel worker, sneaks into the room. Noticing the suspicious man, the girl decides to hide in the closet. Liz wants to text the stranger's sister. She doesn't have time to do what she planned because her phone starts buzzing with loud notifications. Hearing a sound from the closet, Jack immediately went over to it. Upon finding the girl, he tried to calm her down, but she, deciding not to engage in a conversation with the man, skillfully runs past him and locks herself in the bathroom. After that, the movie's plot shifts back to the poor souls in the hot air balloon. Andy doesn't know how to operate it. He ducks down. The balloon hits a turbine. Nick falls. Despite lacking the necessary knowledge, he still has a brilliant idea: to duck down and hope for the best. Inevitably getting closer to the wind turbine blades, the basket of the hot air balloon ends up taking a hit, causing Nick to fall out, while Andy suffers a serious injury to his leg. Meanwhile, everything continues at the hotel. Liz, after checking that no one is in the room, decides to come out of the bathroom and tell the adults everything. It comes down to the police. The receptionist doesn't take the girl's words seriously and insists that it was all just a dream. As soon as Andy comes to his senses, he immediately decides to confess that the hot air balloon isn't actually his. The guy has access to it and only uses it to impress beautiful girls. Such a confession made a good impression on his companions, so they decide to help him with his leg. Suddenly, Nick makes his presence known, having miraculously survived with the help of a rope. The girls tried to help him, but you can't escape fate, and after a while, he ends up falling down. After that, the hot air balloon starts rising uncontrollably. As soon as the view of the endless waters opens up below, the fuel starts running low. Fortunately, even though Andy doesn't know how to operate this thing, he does have some knowledge about maintenance. Guiding him on what to do, Kate changes the tank. Unfortunately, this is just a temporary measure for a couple of hours. Suddenly, the girls spot a yacht on the horizon and start trying to get its attention. People, not realizing they need help, just wave back. Andy, trying to stand up, stumbles and falls into the water. All attempts to save him were unsuccessful, especially since this guy not only doesn't know how to operate a hot air balloon, he also has no swimming skills. Then the girls start hoping that if they were able to spot one boat, they might see another one. They decide to get ready for their next chance at rescue and draw an SOS signal on a poster lying in the basket. Using all their lipstick, they manage to write only part of it. Then Kate decides to cut her arm and use her blood to finish it. Meanwhile, Liz is in trouble. No one wants to believe her claim about the attempted robbery. The officer calls in a child protection officer who decides to take the girl to the embassy to establish her identity. Despite this, Liz tries to convince Sofia to help her find her sister using the photo that was sent. The girl, upon learning the location, decides to help the child. Mayra and Kate continue their desperate attempts to be noticed. The girl takes off her clothes and sets them on fire, thinking that the smoke will be a much more noticeable signal than the poster. Liz and Sofia reach the right spot and find only an abandoned car there. Inside the cabin, the girl finds a mobile phone that has a video report about the beginning of the upcoming tragedy related to her sister. Meanwhile, Sofia discovers the company number that belongs to the departed hot air balloon. After getting through, the girl learns that the pilot is on vacation and there couldn't have been any flights that day. Mayra and Kate make a new attempt to escape, specifically trying to catch a mobile signal on their phone to send a message. Together, they come up with the idea to make a primitive signal booster out of wire and an antenna. The idea worked, but the phone's charge was just enough for one message, in which the girls indicated their current coordinates. Liz immediately receives a message from her sister, and she starts to realize that Kate is in very serious trouble. After a lot of persuasion, Liz manages to convince Sofia to head to the sea to take a boat and set out to search for her sister. When they reach the dock, Sofia asks Liz to stay in the car while she goes to get help. Unfortunately, there's no one to ask for help because today the locals have some kind of holiday. Upon learning this, Liz rushes to the nearest boat and tries to start the engine. Sofia, noticing this, interferes with the start of the rescue operation. Meanwhile, the fuel in the hot air balloon is running low, causing the altitude to decrease rapidly. Kate suggests climbing as high as possible and surviving on the water for as long as they can. At that moment, an officer arrives at the girl next to whom Nick crashed. She tried to explain what happened, but the officer refuses to believe her, saying that people don't just fall from the sky.
He must have jumped.
Those little trees over there, maybe?
Am I in trouble, officer?
We will see.
The balloon completely descends into the water. In a fit of panic, Mayra starts confessing that she's a thief and a fraud. Kate, remembering her sister in the room, starts to get angry but soon calms down as she realizes that she needs to think about herself right now. Liz convinces Sofia to start searching in open water. When the basket goes underwater, the girls do too. Mayra starts to drown, but Kate saves her. Somehow they swim to the empty balloon and the girls find themselves in relative safety. Mayra confesses that robbing Kate's room was her last job. Meanwhile, Jack, having taken the money he had collected recently from the hiding place, rides off into the sunset with another girl, but his joy doesn't last long, as that very girl robbed him just like that while he was in the shower. Mayra and Kate, struggling in the water, notice a cargo ship heading their way. At first they were happy, but then they realized they could get caught under it, so they decided to paddle away. Sofia and Liz keep searching for the balloon. Their search is interrupted by a sudden engine failure. The girl, not knowing what problems are, takes a paddle and starts to row. After a while, she pulls out a rescue whistle, hoping that its sound will be heard. Fortunately, the girls hear the sound, but they don't have the strength to shout, let alone row. Mayra, remembering that she has a small mirror with her, starts looking for the right angle to signal for help. Sofia and Liz notice a glimmer and soon reach the exhausted girls. It seems like the danger has passed, except for the fact that the boat's engine is broken and the weather at sea could turn bad at any moment.
Guys, do you know where we're going?
One of the best movies that showcases human foolishness in all its glory. If you think that's impossible, just take a look at the dozens of Darwin Award winners. At the time of this summary's release, the movie has a rating of 3.1 stars on IMDB. How would you rate this film? Be sure to let us know in the comments. That brings us to the end of our video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you found it interesting, make sure to support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our new episodes. Well, this was Stas, who is already preparing a new summary for you. Stay healthy, watch only good movies and play only good games. Good luck to everyone and goodbye.